Welcome back to God of War 3. We've met Daedalus, I guess. Well, not technically, I guess, but we've seen him in.
Not yet.
We're back on the big, boxy platform things.
The cues of plot progression.
Convenient locations to have big, wide open areas to fight enemies on.
What? Are you saying that in the God of War universe that the landscape shapes itself for convenient brawling arenas?
Well, I really like the movie The Cube, and I wanted Kratos to be on a cube fighting scorpions.
An Intelligent Cube is my favorite game.
He would have to shill those cult Sony classics, considering who owns them, now that I think about it.
Is Intelligent Cubes owned by Sony?
I don't remember if it was a Sony-published game.
Because, I mean, I know it was on PlayStation, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it was specifically something Sony owns.
Let's find out.
Intelligent Cube. Let's see here. Oh, it's IQ Intelligent Cube. How are you supposed to know that it's IQ Intelligent Cube?
You gotta have a certain high Q to understand Intelligence Cube, Ted.
Developer G Artists. Interesting.
What happened to A through F artists?
They didn't make the test. They got crushed by a cube.
They made stuff exclusively for Sony for a while, including a Parappa the Rapper game, and an Ape Escape racing game up through 2006, and then they made a bunch of DS and smartphone games after that, including Popo Locroix, which looks like some sort of anime, like Digimon or Pokemon kind of type game, from what I can tell, or something like that.
Okay, so they were responsible for the PSP port of Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah,
Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
they were
in
a company that
Japan.
just worked with Sony but weren't strictly...
Weren't strictly Sony, yeah. I don't know, yeah, because, well... No, okay, yeah, like half of their library is from Sony products, the other is Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
And then they went to smartphones.
Yeah.
Okay, so Intelligent Cube probably isn't owned by Sony.
Likely not.
Then again, though, I don't know if anybody associates it with anything other than, like, those mid-PlayStation, early PlayStation days. Now,
I mean, I think Intelligent Cube could work as a phone game.
Yeah, well, you'd see it on a phone game nowadays.
which is kind of depressing, to be honest, that you can't really... a lot of puzzle games don't have space in the console scene anymore.
It's because puzzle games are inherently having to... You kind of have to do them on a kind of level-by-level basis for them to flow right.
Yeah.
Which just naturally makes them work better on handheld devices.
Like handheld devices, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know like there's still a stigma when it comes to mobile phone games and all this thing, but it's when a good mobile game is out, it's really good.
It's just a matter of
There's like so much shit.
It's like the Atari 2600. There's just so much shit. It's not really even worth.
Yeah, you have to just have to know from this guy who knows that guy who knows this guy's sister that this game is a really good game.
It's from what I can tell, it's mostly just because there's not really a vetting process in the same way that there is on consoles.
No.
I mean, to be fair, consoles aren't exactly that much better in a lot of regards.
Yeah, but from what I can tell, you need more money in order to get started, at the very least. So
yeah, I think it's more just audience in which mobile commands, where they're so... I mean, it started very casual, where they just don't know better about a lot of monetization practices. The other is just, as time went on, is just what mobile players expect. Like, Nintendo made Mario Run for like, what, $10 to buy?
Yeah. And
it failed hard, and people just don't buy mobile games, and it's just kind of like, that's really kind of depressing, that you'd rather have gotcha games and microtransactions instead of just buying a good game.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a shame because
it.
Mario, I'll defend Mario Run. I legitimately spent a lot of time on that game, especially Remix 10.
Yeah, but that's only like one level though, right?
No. It's a hodgepodge level. They're randomly selected from like the entire main story scenario, and you just run through all of them.
Yeah, but there's only like 10 levels in the game, though, aren't there?
No.
No?
No. There's a 6, 20, 24 or 32.
Okay, it feel like I never played it, so it could be fun. I
Yeah.
don't know. It just felt like I don't want to say shallow because
I mean,
that's kind of the
it
point.
is comparatively
It's a-
speaking. I mean,
it's a
it
runner
is.
game, so-
It's a runner game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just meant to play it in bits.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I mean, I did like the Dr. Mario game that they made because it was oh god, it was based off of one of the sub modes for Dr. Mario that they had on the WiiWare version. And I like that a lot better than normal Dr. Mario because the kind of like stop and set up chain sort of puzzle games I'm terrible at. So like Dr. Mario, Puyo Puyo. I like Puzzle League better than either of those, but I'm still not a huge fan of that game either. I can't set up
Street
a chain.
Fighter, Puzzle Fighter.
I never played Puzzle Fighter or Puzzle Combat. Combat Puzzle? Mortal Puzzle? I forget what that minigame is called.
I think it's Puzzle Combat.
Puzzle Combat. I can't
Yeah.
believe that they made a Puzzle Combat. Also, wasn't there Mortal Kart Bat too?
That was Mortal Kombat Deception. I think had that. There was a combat or combat cart.
Combat Kart? Okay.
Both spelled with a K. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Deception was weird.
well, that
Like
was
it's
back
the best 3D. It's the best 3D fighter, but it's also really over the top, even for Mortal Kombat standards.
So from what I understand, up through like Mortal Kombat Armageddon, the games were bad, and then they became good once NetherRealm took the reins, right?
No, NetherRealm was always in charge. They
NetherRealm-
just but they were Midway beforehand.
Okay.
And then Midway fell through because the company just went bankrupt, I believe.
Then they got
And
bought
then-
by Warner, I believe.
Yes, and then they just
kind
formed-
of reformed themselves.
yeah,
under
they reformed
NetherRealm.
NetherRealm Studios.
Okay, yeah. So after it was Mortal Kombat 9, 8, 9?
9
is
was the first.
really
9
first return to
and
form.
I want to say okay, well no, the first under NetherRealm Studios. I want to say that was MK versus DC.
Yeah,
but-
which had a lot of ideas 9 would later make better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like I remember because this was like the late 2000s, so right when I was first getting into internet culture and watching.
Oh yeah, Mortal
like, game
Kombat was in its dark
trailers.
age.
Yeah, so like I remember seeing like game trailers reviews. I miss game trailers. Granted, all the people who work there are still doing stuff. I believe they're God, what's their name?
Easy Allies.
Easy Allies, yes. And it was, I gotta tell you, it was so surreal hearing Brandon's voice again after I hadn't heard it for like 5-6 years when I discovered that channel. It was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm 14 years old.
You are alive.
No, the weirdest one for me is when I found that, if you remember a website, I mean, John probably knows potentially more than you, Ted. Remember, like, Planet GameCube back in, like, 2002?
Planet GameCube, I do not recall.
Okay, it was just a site that I went to for, like, GameCube and Nintendo news at the time.
Right.
Because this was, like, right when IGN was starting to become IGN. And I found out, like, a lot of those guys work at, like, My Nintendo and a few other sites. I'm like, wow, that's neat. That's like, this really takes me back.
Glad you saw it work.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way you gotta look at it.
It's just really nice when you find out that people whose work you enjoy are still doing stuff as opposed
Yeah,
to...
I had a similar feeling with. I used to watch this show called X Play on G4.
Yeah.
And well, G4 in general, like in the mid 2000s, I used to absolutely love Marathon because I loved a lot of their shows there. But my favorite was X Play, and it was Adam Sussler and Morgan Webb, or were the two hosts of that one. And Morgan Webb, I don't know what she's doing nowadays, but Adam Sussler went and moved on to like YouTube and all that after G4 essentially became Spike TV 2.
Morgan Webb sounds familiar. I
mean,
think she's still doing stuff.
I think she models now, or that she was
Oh
always.
no,
a
she's
model?
part of a game studio, Bonfire
Oh, is she?
Studios.
Okay.
I do not know what games they've made though.
I mean, all those game reviews I remember are Tom from Tsunami.
Oh, that's right. He gave Mario Sunshine a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that was weird.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You see that maybe he deserved to die.
He also reviewed Mr. Mosquito.
Did he review Mr. Mosquito? I only remember.
Yeah.
The
They
Sunshine
did a
review.
lot of weird PS2 games back then.
I mean, good for them, because that was like some of the only ways you heard about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
If
you
you
gotta keep your
didn't
finger on the
like, if a
pulse.
game was like not really popular back in the day, and by back in the day I mean like the early 2000s to into 90s, because by the time you get to the mid-late 2000s, the internet exists. So there were
Yeah.
communities for even niche stuff like Trauma Center and Phoenix Wright. I remember back in those times. But, you know, if you were playing an obscure game in the 90s, you really only figured out about it from a friend.
Or you just happened to pick something up and got lucky on a rental.
That I mean, internet communities and forums existed as early as the the early '90s and mid
Bulletin
'90s.
board
Problem
system
is,
and all that, but
yeah, but PCs weren't exactly family things you had at the time because they were still pretty fucking
Yeah.
expensive.
and you did not have the internet infrastructure for 99.9% of
Yeah.
No.
I think our family first had like we had a computer. I remember like we had a computer probably all the way back in like when I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old, because I remember that my family had one of those software things that could make different kinds of greeting cards, and it was a Disney one, because I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Because I remember my parents making like a goofy one for Christmas or something like that. But like the first time I remember being able to go onto the internet was not until like 2000 or so. So I don't think we had like a dedicated modem for a while. And I know that a couple of my friends really could only go online if they went to the library. So not everybody
going to
had
the library
the
for the internet was a big thing.
Yeah, not everybody had the internet, or you couldn't just assume that everybody had the internet until I'd say the mid 2000s.
Yeah, earliest internet was late 90s because my parents were working professionals, so they would have like email at the time, AOL and all that.
You've got mail.
So we had the internet, but kids had to ask permission, and there wasn't much to look at.
Remember,
back
kids,
then.
ask your parents' permission before going online.
Online.
Our first family computer was late '97, early '98.
Was it a compact?
It was
Packard
Packard Bell.
Oh,
Packard Bell.
yeah!
It was a Packard Bell. 'Cause I
Nice.
think that's all we could afford.
We had a
And it had a
compact.
lot of software things, Spider-Man, Cartoon Maker, some other thing like that.
Oh, I love those things because you can be a complete idiot with them.
Yeah, and just like Goku fan fiction with Spider-Man. Fuck yes.
Did any of you guys have Jumpstart?
Yes.
Yes.
Jump start. First grade, jump a start. First grade.
We had super solvers at my house.
I didn't have any of those at my house. They were all at school, like the Math Blaster number.
Yeah, the school still had the cool games that I wish I knew how to get inside my personal computer, because I would just spend the whole day playing Super Munchers.
Yeah.
Because I fucking loved that game. But my first internet was around that time as well. We had AOL. I think everybody had AOL at that time.
I mean, they were giving it away literally.
Yeah, I know.
We
I think
used
we're still
the
using them
discs
as.
as
I think we're.
Frisbees.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we're still using them as drink coasters to this day. But
They say that even to this day, you can get 300 free hours of internet on AOL. Just by signing up.
it's like when this world ends, like the first few artifacts are gonna find, like uncovering dust and all that. It's gonna be an AOL trial desk.
Yeah, the aliens come and they examine our culture, and they were like, the great god of AOL gave to its people hours of this internet. We're
Well, they don't even pronounce the letters. They don't even pronounce the letters individually. They say AOL.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
Human
oh,
culture and its obsession with oh.
oh.
I think one of my favorite Futurama jokes is just 50 years ago I signed up for America Online and then finally went through. We're online.
That's actually one of my favorite jokes in the 2000 something Muppet movie with Jason Segel. Was we're going to find the Muppets using my modem, and then it's like they try to use a 90s robot for GPS, and it nearly kills all of their hearing by plugging into the modem. Oh man, that movie's
I'm not sure
good.
if it was like. I'm not sure if it was if Ted had a similar experience, but you remember when you transitioned from dial-up to DSL.
Oh my god, that was magical.
I don't really remember dial-up all that.
I was
much.
there,
Bless
Gandalf.
bless
I was
your
there
soul.
3,000 years ago.
Dial-up was awful. Like, comparatively speaking, it was awful. Because the connection itself was really shit. It was also pretty unreliable. You also couldn't use the phone.
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
really remember any arguments about I have to call so and so, but I'm on the internet. I don't really remember any of those sorts.
And
of
if someone
things.
picked up the phone incidentally to make a call while you were on the internet, your connection got cut off. Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
And it's not like I wasn't doing anything.
I was in the middle of an MSM chat with my friends.
What was your
Oh.
guys' AOL away message?
It was just a general away one.
Yeah, I think it's general.
Oh, you guys were boring.
I was not clever enough to make my own. That or I would just take the one from Seinfeld. It's like, believe it or not, John isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep. I must be out, or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be?
And we just dated the entire audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could make a Friends reference at this point and probably still date the entire.
Not me.
audience.
I never watched Friends.
Not necessarily a hot take anymore, but Friends sucks.
I mean, it's
I
aged.
was never interested in it. I didn't find the appeal.
It's
I-
aged pretty badly because there's a lot of like
There's a lot of
homophobic
homophobic
jokes.
remarks, and all the characters are like legit awful to everyone.
Yeah, they're
Like there's no way you can like actually root for any of these people.
they're all the embodiment of first world problems. I think.
Yeah.
Well, how would you say you say unlikable characters like looking back? How
Although
would
their
you say it
problems could
compares
be
to like
solved if they would
Seinfeld?
No,
Because Seinfeld, nobody was really likable. I mean, that was kind of
that was also kind of the point.
yeah.
Like you're never supposed to like feel bad for Kramer or Elaine
Anybody
and
for
all
that
that.
matter,
So
yeah.
so it gets away with it on that regard, but you're supposed to care about like what's happening with Ross and Rachel. It's like who cares? They're both assholes.
Yeah, there's not really any expectation of sympathy from what I remember of. Like I've only seen bits and pieces of like Seinfeld. There's not really any expectation of sympathy for those characters. Where there is from what I've seen of Friends. Like you're supposed to feel bad, and you're supposed to be invested in in those characters' relationships, which I personally wasn't really. But you know, I mean, then again, I also liked the ending to How I Met Your Mother, so maybe my reference point on this should
That's
be
a show
respected.
That's a show I could never watch.
The only reason why I did was because people kept on being like, "Oh, your name's Ted. The guy in this show's named Ted. You have to watch it." And I got annoyed, and eventually I did.
No, you see, I dropped sitcoms entirely after.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched a
the
sitcom.
late 90s.
I haven't watched a sitcom in decades.
Yeah, late 90s after I stopped watching sitcoms. Just wasn't interested in following up on this kind of thing.
Well, they ran out of ideas and just stopped trying.
Maybe it was because I was so caught up in reruns on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Home Improvement.
Oh, that's a show I don't think has aged well at all. Is Home
What?
Improvement?
Home Improvement?
No. And this is
It's
coming
been
from
a
a
long
guy
time.
who likes Full House. So
I admittedly haven't watched that episode in a very long time, but I still remember enjoying a lot of it. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, though, I still think it ages.
oh
like
no,
fine
it's
wine.
aged. Fresh Prince has aged the best out of all of the. What are they called? The like the Saturday night whatever
Prime
shows.
time.
Yeah. Well, there's like a name. There was like a specific like special block name for all those ABC shows, like
TGIF.
That's
Well,
it.
TGIF was Friday nights, yeah.
Yeah, the TGIF block. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I think Fresh Prince is easily is the best show out of all of those, but I have
Yeah.
the
Well, Fresh Prince was NBC.
Fresh Prince.
So did NBC have a similar block? I know TGIF was ABC.
Seinfeld was on what channel again?
Seinfeld was NBC.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh yeah, Instant Kill Fire. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
You
I
think
thought
Kratos watches
I could
Friends?
just take it, and it was like, nope.
Man,
Kratos watches Friends?
Kratos can take 10 stabbings to the chest, but if he gets burned, he's
And he
just
gets sent to
like,
hell twice.
Lol, guys, I'm done. Sorry. Do you think that Kratos prefers Friends or Seinfeld?
Probably Seinfeld because everyone's a bigger jerk in that.
Yeah, he relates.
Then again, though, he probably also watches like 24 and thinks it's a comedy. So
Oh, Kiefer, you know just what to say.
His biggest assessment of 24 after the fact is like, that was more than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah,
Also,
that's
it
also.
never accounts for things like travel time.
No, but we're talking about like you know, we'll probably say this for another part. There's only 20 seconds left of this part. Hey, we can go on another tangent for like 10 minutes with this shit.
Yeah, if we want to talk about something that's going to date us, that 24 is not a show that anybody's cared about since 2006. So,
Speedrunning technique.
I noticed you were using the chains earlier from the weapons head. I was like, yeah, so this is what they meant to, huh?
Yeah, basically.
Just get me to one place.
And once if you get the rhythm down, it's actually faster just to do the dodge roll cancel,
Yeah.
which I can do a little bit, but it's harder than I think too. But hey, whatever. We'll see you all in the next part of God of War 3.